The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
And then they were really good for a long while in my life, and then they got bad. So, and no, I'm not talking about DC Comics. What's up, y'all? This is K Double. I'm here with Alpha, and we're here on this week's edition of the Cheap Pop Podcast. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. Whew.
It's a damn good time to be a wrestling fan.
Yes, it is. Wrestling fan, and if you're a fan of DC Comics or DC Comic shows, now is a good time to be a fan as well, because all of the CW shows are coming back, and a new one is debuting as well.
Whole lot of content.
Oh, yeah. So let's start there. Batwoman. The story of Kate Kane. It's this week's episode was episode 1, is the pilot episode, so it was really kind of explaining a lot about how she becomes Batwoman and you know, why she becomes Batwoman. I'll give it credit to this extent. It was well written. I think that they did a little too much as far as, like, I don't know. Like, okay, look, there's no big deal about it. I'm not saying there's a big deal about it. Nobody's saying there's a big deal about it. But I do bring this up only because of the fact that I feel like this was something that was thrown in everybody's face, like, over and over again throughout the entire episode. And that's the fact that she was a lesbian. Like, no biggie. But also, like, it just kind of felt like it was being slapped in the face like a stinky fish over and over and over again. And no, I didn't use that analogy for any particular reason. I'm just saying in general, it felt like that. Like, but I understand, because it's a huge moment. You know, not only do you have this iconic character of Batman now being represented as or this character of Batwoman being represented, but you're making her a part of the B2Q, I don't remember how it's spelled, but I think I hit all the letters.
A, B, C, D plus.
Yeah. That community, you know, you're doing, which I think is amazing. But like I said, I also feel like you don't have to make it, like, very, very obvious and primary in the storytelling. But overall, very well done. Big reveal. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched episode 1. Might want to pause it, go watch it, and then come back to this show. It's the main villain, at least for this season, is her sister. And that was just dope. Her sister that she thought was, like, dead and gone. Like, and she comes back as this, like, super villain. So, like, congrats on that story writing on that. That was amazing. That was beautiful. Can't wait to see how that develops. It looks like it's going to develop into being a major storyline thread going through the entire series, or not series, but at least this season. I just feeling they'll wrap, the way CW works, they'll wrap up this whole sister thing by the end of this season. But overall, 4-star episode. Very well done as far as setting everything. Only issue I took with it, outside of the blatantly slapping me in the face with the fact that she was a lesbian, is the way she just kind of stumbles across the Batcave. Like, once again, spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it. She kind of walks into the library of the Wayne building. Okay, and you haven't quite seen the Wayne building yet, Alpha, because you haven't seen the Elseworlds crossover event.
I've seen a few clips here and there, but I haven't seen it, like, in video action yet.
Right. So, like, they introduce people to Gotham City, and they introduce people to this Wayne building in the center of Gotham City. Kind of like, in Christopher Nolan's Batman, how they kind of had that Wayne building, except it's defunct because Batman's been gone for 3 years. And so she goes there, and there's this black dude named Luke Fox. Okay.
Oh, Lucius. Okay.
Yeah, I assume that's a play on Lucius.
That's weird, though. I'm so used to him being younger. Okay. I mean, older.
Luke Fox is standing there with her in the library, and she looks over at this thing, and she's like, "Why'd they move that?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "That award, it belonged to my aunt." I'm like, "But it normally doesn't sit there." And he's like, What are you talking about?" And she's like, "It normally sits right." And she feels around and finds this little hole, and she sits it in the hole and turns it a little bit. And of course, the briefcase, the bookcase moves open. And she stumbles into the little elevator, and then takes the elevator down and stumbles into the Batcave, and that's how she discovers that Bruce Wayne, her cousin, was Batman. Okay. Which is another.
I'm not gonna lie, I expected something a little bit more intricate from the CW, but I'll take it.
Right. Now, when you find out what the relationship is between her and Bruce Wayne, I'll leave that to let you watch the episode. But the link between the two is quite interesting, to say the least. Like, it's quite interesting. So, all right. So moving on.
My interest.
That was that. What's up?
I'm to add in my 2 cents on it. I'm just happy that a character that's like very rarely given any type of exposure from the Bat family is really getting that. Yeah. When you look at the Bat family, you'll see the same 3 or 4 people getting the same amount of attention. Of course, there's going to be Batman comics out the ass. Red Hood always has his 1 or 2 that he always gets. Dick Grayson's always gotten a lot of attention. Like, how do you not love Nightwing?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I'm seeing that, because her and among 2 or 3 other characters aren't really ones in the Bat family that you see get a lot of attention. So I'm really glad that she's getting something, even if it's going to take a minute to really hit its stride.
See, exactly.
I'm not going to be too critical, but yeah, of course I'm going to call it out if I see something I'm not digging about it.
For sure. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. All right. So also, which debuted last night, was the new season 5 of Supergirl. This episode was called Event Horizon, in honor of their villain that they fought off in this particular episode, which was a villain named Midnight that came out the Phantom Zone and had this power of negative energy that she could kill people with. The episode itself really wasn't too substantive as far as content goes. There were some key things. Brainiac finally kissed Dreamer, so that was pretty cool. What else happened? Now I guess who is it? Agent Danvers, not Carol, but not Carol, but not Kara, but the sister, Alex Danvers, is now dating Jimmy Olsen's sister, which is quite interesting to me. But that's a part of the storyline, and it's looking like more and more. I'm just taking a stab in the dark. It's only episode 1 of season 5, but it's looking like Lana Luthor is going to be the main villain, because she knows that. Well, she knows because of 2 ways. For those of you who watched last season, she knows that that Kara Danvers is Supergirl because Lex Luthor told her right after she shot him. Okay, so she's known since the end of last season. But now she knows because Kara actually told her in this episode. So that was like the big life-changing moment. But as they led me and everybody else to believe that this had kind of warmed Lana's heart to Kara and that she wasn't going to be evil and turn on her. Nah, we come to find out by the end that Lana still has every plan in the world of taking down Supergirl. She just altered her plan a little bit. Initially, her plan was just to reveal Supergirl to the rest of the world, but now she's got a different plan. So, we'll see how it plays out. That was just episode 1.
I'm interested, especially seeing after how good of a villain Lex Luthor played into the series.
Yeah.
You know, as somebody who grew up watching fucking Smallville a lot, like seeing any version of Lex Luthor is always something that I'm interested in. I feel like he was done to a fucking T in Supergirl.
Yeah, I definitely do. And like I said, John Cryer, they will definitely be bringing him back because this entire season for all the series is surrounded around the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that will be something that will affect everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. But okay, so now a little bit moving on from that. There was a conversation that was happening within the confines of Supergirl that led me to thinking and asking this question. Who is the best supervillain of all time? Because you've got some great ones out there. Like Thanos.
Are we talking in just like in comics? In the comic world?
I would say in the comic
Okay.
world. You can stretch as far into the comic world as you need to.
Okay.
Some people might say Thanos, but I think that's more of a recency bias. I don't think Thanos even really cracks my like top 10 villains of all time. But my
I think he cracks my top 10, but not my top 5.
Okay, fair enough. Here's what I lay out for people. Is my criteria for a great villain is you have to have a backstory that's memorable. Okay. So to me, that kind of eliminates guys like the Joker. No offense to Joker, he's a great villain and a great all-time villain, but he can't sit in my number 1 slot because you don't really have a solid link on his backstory, and I kind of like that more about the character. But I also can't give him credit for being the best villain because I think part of a good villain is a great backstory. Okay. I also think that part of being a great villain is being able to see the big picture. And that's kind of where Thanos like works his way onto my list in general. Is that his entire thing was about seeing the big picture. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, it leaves me at this. And it's gonna be weird. Because a lot of people will be like, he's not a villain, man. He was a good guy here. He's a villain, people. To me, the greatest villain of all time is Magneto.
Okay.
I think he had some of the purest motives. I think he always went the villain route when it came to those critical decisions, those critical moments. Like you've seen the movie Deadpool, right?
Of course.
Yes. You know what those moments that Cyclops is talking about? It's like as many times as Magneto has done the right thing, he's always done the right thing with ill intention. Like if Magneto is doing the right thing, it's because it benefits him. And because there's some other grander scheme that he wants to achieve. He very rarely ever does the right thing just to do the right thing. You know, and that kind of irritated me a little bit about his portrayal in the movies, too. Because I was like, you guys portray him like he's this bad guy, he's this good guy who's struggling with being bad. No, Magneto was a fucking bad guy. Okay? When you watched him rip the antimanium out of Wolverine's body, like, Magneto was just a fucking bad guy who occasionally did the right thing because it benefited him. But Magneto was evil, pure through and through. So that's my vote for greatest villain of all time is Magneto. Go for it.
I feel I agree with you for the most part because I feel like Magneto is the villain who doesn't get as much attention as he deserves. In the grand scheme of the villain scene,
Yeah.
He isn't one that's looked at in the way that he should, because I think people forget that, especially over the years, Magneto has gotten progressively stronger to the point where he has fucked up the tilt of the entirety of the planet Earth by sheer willpower alone, using all types of magnetic bullshit. And he's lifted Thor's hammer by putting a big old magnetic field around it and doing all types of fuck shit. And I think people forget that Magneto bridges on being an Omega level mutant, especially in the 2000 section of the comics. Like House of M, and I forget what it's called, but the story where he basically tries to just like destroy the entirety of the human race through changing everybody into mutants and becomes the fucking king of them. And it's an Avengers level threat. I think that's Ultimatum. Yeah, Ultimatum, because it's one of the worst comics I've ever read. But but no, you really get to see how unbelievably OP God level fucking Magneto is, and he's an easily hateable villain.
And
But
I would
for
say,
me,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna make a quick comment about like he to me is similar to Storm. Like people consistently forget exactly how sneaky strong Storm is. Like Storm is basically a goddess, and people forget that. Like
Exactly, I think.
And I like
people don't like take into consideration how small the power is, but how big of a scale it could be taken. Like they just hear like, you know, he controls magnetism, and they think, oh, he can just like move metal around. Like, do you have any idea how much of a pull magnetism truly has on everything the Earth runs with?
Not to mention the fact that your body is like 10% metal. He can control that. like people don't understand. Like the what is it? The mercury in your body that you eat, that you ingest, that you have in your body. He can control that. Like people forget that.
Exactly. It's like,
it's almost as sick as
you need to look at the bigger picture.
Right.
And you see people like Storm, and it's the same way. And it's like, you hear she can just control weather, and you think people would just skip to, oh no, she's just going to strike lightning and make all types of fuck shit like that happen. Like, no. She can do all types of crazier shit like that. You just need to use your imagination.
She can make a targeted tornado that literally comes and only fucks up your house. Like, leaves every house around yours okay and doing good and sparkly clean with cut lawns, but your house has been torn up by a tornado. Why? Because Storm don't like you. That's why.
Exactly.
Because Storm
fuck that up in particular.
You. Exactly. But anyway, but go on. Who's your vote for?
Okay, for me, I'm gonna have to. You can call me cliche if you want, but I'm gonna say the Joker.
Okay.
And for the reasoning that is actually for the opposite reason that which you said you wouldn't want to say him, and that's for his backstory. I say this as someone who hasn't seen the Joker movie yet. I'm actually gonna go see it tomorrow, so I hope to report it next time I'm on the show here. But I'm gonna go see it tomorrow, so I promise you, I'm not coming off of that Joker fever that's going on.
Okay.
But the idea behind the Joker is one of my favorites because no other superhero to supervillain dynamic is played into as much as Batman and the Joker.
True.
The idea that one needs the other to survive, otherwise the other one cannot function, is an interesting reason as to why, Joker always gets out and they just put him back in.
Yeah.
It's a genuine psychological, I wouldn't say disease maybe function, but something along those lines. It's something that really involves you to think about it rather than like, I'm Lex Luthor and I'm evil and I just want to be rich and Superman just fucking socking his brains out.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, eventually they turn.
They take it as a step.
By the time of like the most recent Superman movies, they've tried to turn the Lex Luthor Superman relationship into a similar symbiotic like Joker Batman relationship. I think that they've tried to do that where like Batman or Superman needs Lex Luthor, and it's like, nah, Superman doesn't need Lex Luthor at all. Like Lex Luthor could not exist, and Superman would be perfectly cool. Would be one less dude to be fucking with. Like it's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I feel I feel you.
I wasn't using that one as a particular example. I actually really like how that one is, especially in the Rebirth comics, where they took this idea of Lex Luthor being so obsessed with Superman that he wanted to become him, and when Superman died, he donned his own little suit and he became Superman, and then Superman came back and they fought for the mantle. I'm all about that shit.
For sure.
I love Lex Luthor. But to me, Joker really plays into what a superhero and supervillain dynamic should be. And to me, his backstory is one of the most heartfelt and fucked up.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of villains, and it's like, you look at Lex Luthor, you look at Doctor Doom, and they don't have very many things you can relate to. It's more of like, he was born as a gypsy, and now he's a fucking president, and there's not much you can get out of that.
Yeah, no shit.
The same when you look at Lex Luthor, and it's like, he was born fucked, he was raised fucked, and he ended up becoming a very fucked human being. There's not much you can get out of that. But then you look at the Joker, and it's very sympathetic in the way that he was this poor little wannabe comedian man, just trying to do his best, and to make ends meet, he was forced to rob a bank, and in the process, he was dumped into a vat of acid that which ruined his entire fucking life. And before that point, you can see Joker's like genuinely trying. He's trying to feed his family. He's trying to be a good human being. And
yeah, and it's just not working out.
It's really fucking tragic. And after that point, it's completely utter chaos.
Yep.
It's an interesting idea, and it revolves around the idea that one day alone can ruin someone's entire life. And that's something that always just stuck with me.
And there are some that would say that that's not a narrative that needs to be played out in today's society, because it encourages these young men and women who are already out here, or even older men and women who are already out here committing mass murders, etc., to want to find a reason to do it, like they were bullied or they had a bad day or something like that. And I disagree with it. Like I said, I see it as a movie involving fictional characters, and I think if you're trying to tie links to society, yes, don't get me wrong, comic books are an art form, and art forms connect to society in ways that not many other forms do. Okay, not many other things do. But I think sometimes at this point in time, we're taking things too far. Let's go 49ers. Sorry. Unfortunately, you're going to hear that from me every time they score. But yeah, like, and I think that sometimes we take it too far. This is a fictional movie about a fictional character, and it's not meant to relate to anybody. It's not meant to relate to people in the way that, like, a Fight Club was written to relate to people specifically, or to point out a flaw in society. The Joker wasn't written to point out a flaw in society. It was written to give a more human backstory to a character that's already beloved. Everybody talks about humanizing this mass murderer, blah, blah, blah. He's already been humanized. The Joker is possibly one of the most loved villains in all of comic books. I can't go anywhere without, when you talk Batman, you talk the Joker. And sometimes even when you don't talk Batman, you talk the Joker. And so to me, being one of the most talked about villains of all time, and one of the most popular villains, making an individual backstory, but also understand, folks, that this as well is unique in the fact that DC has already announced that this literally will have nothing to do with the DC universe as it stands. This is a solo movie on its own, by itself. That's an origin story for the Joker character, but it's not an actual origin story of the Joker character that will be seen in whatchamacallit. That will be seen in the
mainline
universe.
DCU cinematic universe.
So, but speaking of that, thanks for bringing me over to it. Have you seen the trailer for Birds of Prey?
I have, and I'm interested.
Yes,
I'm interested. Because I'm seeing you in as Black Mask, and you already have me fucking sold, because I'm seeing the Black Mask as one of my favorite actors in movie form.
Nice.
Like, take my fucking money. You already got it.
And I think go ahead.
I'm neutral about it, though. I've heard a lot of like things going on, or vaccines behind the scenes about like the story and how it was written and how it'll play out. And I'm not hearing, but I'm a little bit iffy.
Okay.
But
Well,
I'm interested though, because I really like Margot Robbie's rendition of Harley Quinn. I think that's the best you're going to get in terms of live action.
mm-hmm.
And the Birds of Prey are another really, really small section of the DC universe that doesn't get a lot of attention that I think might do really well in this day and age.
No, she didn't. Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought Ronda Rousey just came back. I was like, no, leave her away. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
Put it back.
But yeah, you're right. Like, I think it needs this form of the story for the Joker is great to be told. I think that at this point in time, not the Joker. The Birds of Prey is ripe to be told. I think that since it's being done by the same people who did Suicide Squad, I think we're going to see as good of a movie as Suicide Squad was. And Suicide Squad wasn't as much of a shit show as the rest of the DC movies. If I had to rank them, Suicide Squad would be in my top two or three. And I think that Margot Robbie and Will Smith were two of the major reasons why it wasn't a shit show. Their performances.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. That was a movie about Deadshot.
Uh-huh.
You can say whatever you want to me, but Will Smith put that movie on his fucking back.
Yep. And that's the key thing with it is that so I could see Birds of Prey working, and like you said, Margot Robbie, you couldn't have picked a better person to play Harley Quinn as far as big screen. Like, she fits the role perfectly. She fits the look. She fits the feel, the voice, the whole shebang. So
for me, that's the biggest thing. Like going into the Suicide Squad movie, there was one single thing about Harley Quinn that you cannot fuck up. Otherwise, I'm not touching it, and it is the voice.
Yeah, and she hit the voice good.
Yep,
she hit the voice.
I'm due looking for two things going into that movie though.
What's that?
I really hope they don't fuck up the Huntress.
Okay.
The Huntress is one of I'd say easily my top 5 favorite female superheroes. Just because it's not about being a female superhero, it's just about being a badass.
Yeah. Kind of like Domino.
I've always been about that. Yeah. It's like, it's not about being a female superhero, it's just about fucking kicking ass. So you have me there. I hope they have an interesting design because much like the original Hawkeye design, with all the purple and the big fringe and all that.
Yeah.
I hope they have a good redesign because I know they're not going to keep that design going into it. There's no way they will. So I hope they have an interesting design going into that.
Okay.
And I really hope they dive head first into the idea that Harley Quinn is trying to separate herself from the Joker. Because going into a lot of the Harley Quinn standalone storylines, that's all that she's about going into the comics, and I hope they don't lose touch with that.
All right. So stay true to the Harley Quinn character, god darn it.
Please, don't fuck it up.
And be sure to tune in this week as we'll also be reviewing, or later this week on Sunday, as we'll also be reviewing Black Lightning episode 1 of season 3, which premieres tonight. Like I said, Flash season 6 premieres tomorrow night, Tuesday night next week. So that will be on next week's show on Sunday. We'll be reviewing Arrow, the first episode of the final season, which premieres next Tuesday. All right. So all that being said,
right? A lot of fucking content to go over.
Exactly. As well as the new badass Jodie Foster fucking Terminator movie, where I don't understand how Arnold's Terminator keeps coming back. I could have swore they killed his ass like 4 times over, but then there's been some time travel and different shit like that. But I'll say this one though, out of all the Terminators that they've put forth, this dude looks like the most badass.
One small tidbit before we go into that.
What's that?
Just to go into the gaming section a little bit.
Okay.
Earlier last week, the Terminator came out for Mortal Kombat 11.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and it is the rawest shit I've ever seen. It is so fucking cool. They played perfectly into the Terminator character.
Nice.
Every single X-ray, you know, they go in and they show the bones of the character breaking.
Yeah.
It's accurately the Terminator skeleton. It's
Nice.
it's the metal and all that, and everything is on par and perfect. His fatalities are fucking wonderful. They have all types of special little tidbits when the characters enter the scene. You know, when you pick one, they have little banter that they do just to fuck with each other.
For sure.
They did it perfectly in the way that every little thing the Terminator says is just completely flat and emotionless.
Yes.
Like at one point, Aaron Black is like, you know, is there any way we can peaceably solve this? And flat out, he's just like, no. And just the way he just completely deadpan emotion and just, nah, I fucking died.
Oh, man. All about it, man. All about
great.
it.
No, yeah.
I need to buy that game soon.
If you get the chance, do yourself a favor and play that game. The online community isn't a good one, but for the roster that's being lined up in the next few months, we're going to be able to play as Terminator, Joker, and Spawn in a fighting game.
Nice.
Look me in the eyes and tell me you're not going to want to touch that shit.
And I heard a while back that Todd McFarlane's planning on redoing another Spawn live action movie, which
I heard as well, but I've heard very, very few rumblings about that.
I'll say the original one I thought it was good. I thought Michael Jai White did a great job. I thought John Leguizamo was great as the clown.
I got to see John Leguizamo as a demonic fucking blue clown that turned into a giant monster, and then he rode it into goo and fell into flames.
Pretty much, like it was
Spawn had a kneecap mousetrap.
You know, and also it just helped that for me, like it's what kind of angers me when everybody made such a big deal about Black Panther. Like I love Black Panther, and I'm glad that we finally got to see him in a proper representation of him on the big screen. But let's be real. There was Blade before Black Panther. There was fucking Spawn, and Michael Jai White played the hell out that part. You know, and all of that was before Black Panther. He knocked that
out of the park.
Yeah, you know, so I like as much. Don't get me wrong. I am all for Black Panther, but let's stop with this never seen before, first time. Nah, sorry, no.
No, yeah, no. For me, it's a little bit more angering because you look at Black Panther, and yes, that is a really good story, especially as the years went on and they added more depth to it, and they really hammered it in and made it more real, and it got a lot better over time. I love the Black Panther story, even if I wasn't too big of a fan of the writing of the movie. Even then, the idea was fucking fantastic. I loved it. My issue with that is that suddenly, now that he got his movie, characters like Luke Cage are completely thrown to the wayside.
Yeah.
For me, if you're looking for the most accurate representation of that, what it's like to live in that sort of system coming up, especially 50 to 40 years ago when things were bad.
Yeah.
Luke Cage is one of the rawest and violent and painful stories.
And what I was going to say, and the Marvel Netflix series did a really good job of bringing it forward, meaning bringing it to a more current representation of the African American community within cities like Harlem, Compton, etc. You know, yes, like I've told people.
Yeah, if you're looking for a more modern take, then look at. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you're looking for definitely a more modern take, then the modern Netflix Luke Cage is unbelievably fucking harsh and real.
Yeah, it
is. But the original, like the Power Man debut, like when he wasn't Luke Cage, when he was Power Man, and he had the yellow jacket and the metal clamp around his fucking forehead.
Yeah.
The prelude to that, I actually have the first edition comic, one of the proudest fucking purchases I've ever had.
Nice.
I have the very first Power Man comic, and that is one of the harshest and realist comics if you're looking for that sort of presentation. I'm really sad that always gets looked over in the idea of the first African American superhero.
Right. And that was the thing about it. It's like they built it as the first African American superhero movie. Now, if you want to sit like I told people a long time ago, if you want to sit here and tell me the first African American superhero movie, or the first one that was created by a black man, written by a black man, directed by a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, or not created by a black man, because I believe Jack Kirby created Black Panther. But you know what I'm saying? But it was portrayed. You know, it was gonna be acted. The entire crew, except for 2 actors, was gonna be black. You know, like if you were gonna tell me that all of these are historical first as far as movies in Hollywood, I agree. I know that. Like that I've known that for a while, that these things have never happened really in the past. But don't try to sell me that Black Panther is your first major mainstream black superhero when you had Falcon, when you had War Machine, when you had who else was it? And I'm just talking about within the MCU. I'm not even talking about like anywhere else. Nick Fury may not have superpowers, but the man's a damn superhero. You know, and so
You're right.
and so at the end of the day, ultimately there were plenty before them. You know, before Black Panther. Now, what I've always said about Black Panther that made it special, super special, was it was the best representation of Africa that I've ever seen on big screen. You know, where there's only one other time in which I've truly seen Africa represented in such a positive light, and that was in Coming to America. And that was, to me, it was presented in a positive light, considering the fact that Coming to America was a comedy. Okay, so they presented the royal family, in as positive a light as possible. Same thing here with Black Panther. Like, it was more of a positive representation of something instead of now. Don't get me wrong. Here's where I get what people are saying about the differences between Luke Cage and Black Panther, and the fact that Luke Cage is how we're used to seeing ourselves on screen, to use certain terminology. Okay, in the hood, fighting crime in the hood, handling business in the hood, so on and so forth. Black Panther took it out of the hood and made it the motherland, that made it Africa, that made it, you know, and showed Africa in this light where it was just like, yeah, Africa isn't all a bunch of Ethiopians starving and begging for refugee money. You know, there are rich people in Africa that aren't white. You know, like, you know, as much as that's what we get portrayed to.
Like as much as the media will scream at you, no, it is not entirely a charity case.
Right. And so like, I understood that, but also at the same time, though, Black Panther was a great movie in general, well written, very well done. They put a lot of effort into it because of what it was, and I appreciated that. But overall, in general, those type of movies matter. But getting around to that Terminator movie.
Oh yes.
Yeah, man, that scene when the dude is his human shell, and the robot's running on the upper deck, and the robot jumps over the upper deck, and then he runs, and the robot kind of slips inside of him. I was like, okay, yeah,
Yo.
I gotta go see that. Like, yeah, I've never been one to be into Terminator movies, but yeah, I gotta go see that.
I think the Terminator movie before that point, it was a good movie, but it could have been better. So I think looking at this one, I have better high hopes for this one.
Yes, I have very high hopes for this one. Not to mention the fact that you got Jodie Foster back. That's awesome. Arnie, whenever Arnie's in one of those movies, it's always a good thing. So, man.
Like overall, I'd say it's a movie to look forward to for me.
Yeah.
Especially coming off of him being released in MK11. That's a hot release. A lot of people are throwing their shit at that, man. I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. So
I don't think I've watched a Terminator movie that I haven't enjoyed, but go on.
I can't say that I haven't enjoyed it, because there's been certain Terminator movies that I never gave a chance to. Like, and I'm not gonna lie about that. Like Genesis, like after the third or fourth one, and that's normally me with just to show like that it's not necessarily against Terminator. Just to show it's a regular thing with me. Any series that goes beyond, like Fast and Furious, like I've watched every one, but like at the same time, it's like I'm kind of over the Fast and Furious. I went and saw Hobbs and Shaw. It was a great movie, but I'm kind of over the whole Fast and Furious and the whole Dom storyline and all that. I'm kind of just over it.
Yeah, I think it's gotten enough PR and attention over the last few years.
Yeah, so So that's how I got with these particular movies. Is it was like so many of them came out, I was just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with the whole Terminator thing. I'm done with the robot from the future thing. I'm good. And so because of that, I haven't seen a lot of the Terminator movies. But this one, I believe I will be checking out, and I will be checking out in the theater. So
I'd say Salvation is worth a look. Salvation is pretty good.
All right.
Yeah,
I
I like
try to get
Salvation.
that one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pause there and come back, take a deep breath, get our minds right, and then we're going to talk a little wrestling. So we'll be back.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of content there, too. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the Spreaker.com for Aces Presents Radio Network, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else you find your favorite podcasts. Peace.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Game ticket, $50. Hot dog, $8. Team store item, $25.
I told him I can beat him with one hand tied behind my back, with some glasses on, with one eye lens out, with some flip-flops on in the ring.
Having to listen to someone's dumb sports opinions? Worthless. Some people shouldn't talk sports. For everyone else, there's the Unspoken Podcast, available on most podcasting platforms, and on the web at theunspodkensportspodcast.weebly.com.
Interruption in progress. Now hijacking into ANS 2.0 immersion rig. Now simulating the Amazing Nerd Show. Featuring comics.
And Batman's like, you're safe here and everything, but the Joker all of a sudden pulls out a gun and shoots himself.
Movies.
People fight with lightsabers. What the hell do you want? I mean, in every one of these movies, there's a lightsaber battle.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna rewatch it a million times.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, give me something more.
Wrestling.
That would be awesome. Oh my god, just a monster. Fans would be like, holy, what the hell's going on? What happened to Jericho?
Horror.
It starts off like any other like home invasion type of story, and then it just goes crazy.
And more.
Hey, this is Christian.
Hey, this is Dan.
And we are the Amazing Nerd Show.
Make sure to download us on all your favorite podcast platforms.
All right, and we are back, and we're sitting here talking Hell in a Cell, but we're going to open with, what was it that I said we were going to open with? It was a little factoid you gave me afterward. One of the factoids you just gave me afterward. Yes, the rated R superstar, yes, it may be back in a WWE ring, something that we never, ever thought we'd see again after the emotional speech that he gave at his retirement, about his retirement. So, but he has been officially cleared. I've heard mixed reports though. I've heard that the WWE doctors haven't cleared him, but his doctors have cleared him.
I have heard that regardless of the clearance, he has signed a new deal.
Really? Is it? I wonder. Is it a
Like
Legends
4
deal, or is it a, or is
No,
it the actual?
No, I've heard that it is lucrative, it is a lot of cash, and it is for in-ring action.
Yes, the Rated R Superstar will be back after what has been like a 5-year hiatus.
No, way longer. He stopped in 2011, 2012. It's been easily 7-8 years.
Nice. Can't wait.
I cannot begin to explain how much this means to me. Like I don't. Okay, look. So I was born in the early 2000s.
Right.
And I grew up with wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era. I had to go back and look at the Attitude era. So I grew up, and I would easily say the prime of Edge's career is when I was watching wrestling.
During Rated RKO.
Yeah, during Rated RKO, during his run with Lita, during his feud with Matt Hardy, all the feuds against Cena, all that good shit. So I'd say I grew up in when Edge was in the prime of his career. So to me, Edge has always been one of the quintessential heels that has ever wrestled in the history of wrestling business.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And to hear this, I lost my fucking shit. Like, sitting down as a little 11, 12-year-old, I cried when Edge fucking retired. Like, me and my cousin sat there and bawled our eyes out at that. So, like, to hear that
because
he's
at that
actually
point,
back in the ring, I'm ecstatic.
I was gonna say that's because as far as you were concerned, like you had barely only seen him for a year or two. Like by the time Edge retired for me, I had witnessed damn near a 10, 11-year career, of him being the Rated R Superstar. I had witnessed him go from being Gangrel's sidekick, to being the solo guy that he was, at the point in which he retired, main event in WrestleMania. So for me, I saw a much longer career. So to me, it was like, yeah, it sucked, but it wasn't that bad because, I'm like, dude accomplished some shit. Like, it's not like Edge was just like one of those dudes he had just really like if Kofi Kingston came out next week and was like, yeah, dude, my career's over. It'd be like, damn, Kofi, like, you just really hit your stride. You just kind of found your main event status and finally hit your stride.
Exactly. Like, by the time Edge retired, he was, what, an 11, 12-time world heavyweight champion? No, he had his run.
Like, he's held over, I want to say, in tag team and individual, he's held probably close to 30 belts in his career. Like, easy. That's just within the WWE. And so...
He does hold a small record, though, that I always like to bring up.
What's that?
He holds this very interesting record. He is the only singular man to ever hold a tag team belt with Hulk Hogan.
Really? Yeah, huh? Him and Hulk Hogan won the tag team belts on Monday Night Raw. Wow. Did not know that. No, wait a minute. Weren't the Mega Powers tag team champions?
No, they were not. They didn't last long enough to hit that point because they blew up and tried to kill each other.
Wow. That's an interesting backdoor.
Because I learned that and I was like, is this real?
That is really, no, bro. Like, thank you for bringing that. Like, that's interesting. That's something I never would have known had you not brought it up.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of really cool things about Edge like that. You got to see him go from Damien Darkcastle all the way to the point of winning the Royal Rumble and all that shit.
No shit. And
I do remember, like I think 2 to 3 weeks before he retired, when he was feuding with Alberto Del Rio for the WrestleMania match. You see him spear, I think, either Alberto Del Rio or Brodus Clay, and you see him instantly clutch his neck.
Yeah, and you think
and
that's the moment.
That clip is synonymous because not even a full month later, suddenly he's in front of our screen telling us that he's never going to be able to wrestle again. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to move from the neck down.
Now, you want to know what was the first sign that kind of gave me hope that he would eventually get back in to, he would eventually get back into the ring? He did his stint on Haven, right?
Yes.
when I started hearing that he wanted to do some of his own stunts in those moments or in that show, it led me to believe that we would eventually end up with Edge, because there's not that huge of a difference between a stuntman and a wrestler.
Exactly, it's the same amount of risk, I'd say.
Right, both know how to take falls appropriately so as not to hurt themselves or the people that they're dealing with. So because of that, it led me to believe that eventually Edge would come back to the ring, but I still didn't fully think it would happen. I was still just like, maybe.
For me it was seeing Beth Phoenix show up in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That to me is when I really started to learn, nobody really stays away from wrestling once they get in.
Yeah.
No. If you look around, nobody stays retired, and it's for a reason, because you get into this and you can't stop.
Well, I've also
and
said
I wouldn't blame them.
I'll say there are certain people that I've already said multiple times will die in the ring, like Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, are people that will most likely die. And Jake the Snake Roberts. I don't like to think of these people dying, but as much as they wrestle and as often as they wrestle and as much as they enjoy being in the ring, I honestly think that these are going to be guys that are going to end up dying in the ring.
My example is always Vader.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Vader is absolutely one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, just because he's such an absolute badass and always was. But that man took wrestling to his grave, and they told him that if you keep wrestling, you're not gonna last too much longer. And he said, "Fuck it," and he kept going. And then, not even a full 9 months after, he was reported as dying.
That's just insane to me.
At least dude went down doing what he loved, but it's tragic to think about.
Yep. Oh, don't cover them poor little ears, Baker. Anyway, all right. Sorry, watching that Niners game. Anyway, so let's get to some happy stuff here. Last Friday night was the debut of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. A debut that
a lot of mixed emotions.
Yeah, I do. I enjoyed a lot of it. I did. I enjoyed more than I didn't like. Off the top of my head, I enjoyed the segment where The Rock and Becky Lynch beat the snot out of Baron Corbin. That was just a great segment for me, mainly because it was just nice to watch The Rock cutting a promo, a Dirty Dozens promo again. Where
still
he's just talking shit to people. He still has it, exactly. I didn't think it was wise of Baron Corbin to use The Rock's lines, but he got his just desserts in the end. But I can say this, that was a great moment for them, and I think that the overall, I like the announcing team. I like Cole and Corey Graves. I don't know why they got rid of Renee Young.
I was gonna say,
maybe it was
I
a
don't
Fox
know
call,
exactly. I was gonna say, I don't know if I missed a report, if I missed something, but what the fuck happened to Renee? Because, in my opinion, she was the shit and a half on the announcing team. I adored her. They
just decided not to use.
I mean, I'm exactly I'm a little bit biased. I'm not gonna lie. I have my John Moxley shrine in my closet. I'm a little bit biased, but where the fuck is Renee? She's way better than what you're gonna see Charlie Caruso doing, despite the fact that I do like her. But it's she was good. If I can get some semblance of what the hell happened, I'd be kind of interested.
Shoot.
Especially when you pull people like Dio Madden out of your ass.
Yeah, where the hell did he come from? Where has he been? I don't remember seeing him on NXT. I've never watched any of the NXT UK. So where the hell did he come from?
I was going to say, is he an ESPN guy? Or, am I missing something?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard
confused.
of him before.
It's not that I don't like him. You're actually pretty cool, but it's where the fuck is Renee?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and I can say I'm thoroughly happy with with the match lineup that they had. That match between Becky and Charlotte and Sasha and Bailey was off the hinges. Like that was an amazing match. Very well done. Very stories told. Like Charlotte got that victory. Yeah. Overall. Now let's get to that ending.
Wait, hold up.
All right.
Two things first. Kane's. Wow, I'm leaving now. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man. Completely forgot about that match. That was a hell of a match.
Yeah, I was gonna say that shit rocked.
But I wonder.
I'm always a sucker for watching Shane McMahon kill himself and watching him bounce off of the ladder. I think I felt that in my lumbar.
Oh yeah. Oh, when Kevin Owens did hit him with the frog splash through the ladder, I was like, holy ouch. Just ouch.
Not a pretty bump. Leave it to Shane to always try to off himself in the ring. Death fears Shane McMahon. If he can survive a helicopter crash, he can take that bump.
You know, he is one that just woo.
Exactly. Like, you can say whatever you want. A lot of people don't like Shane anymore because of his recent one, but I'll always remember him as the guy who broke his goddamn neck at King of the Ring.
Yeah.
And the guy who got his nuts electrocuted by Kane on live TV.
And see, I don't have an issue with... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I don't have an issue with Shane McMahon in general. I have an issue with Shane McMahon being the center of attention. Like I don't have an issue with Shane McMahon per se. Like, I like him as a character, even an on-screen character. I just don't like him when he's the center of everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he wasn't the champ, but damn, he might as well have been. You know, as often as we were seeing
with how much attention he was getting.
Right. You know, so love your Shane, but like, you know, make your appearances minimal. Make them special. You know, don't be on there every week. Give time to the youngins. Now I'm actually wondering, even though Kevin Owens won that match, like, is Shane actually going to stay gone this time, or is just going to be another one of those McMahon switcheroos? Like, you didn't read the fine print.
Yeah, is this going to be one of the Survivor Series 2014 moments where the Authority is disbanded and 2 weeks later they're back?
Right. Pretty much.
I respect Shane for what he was, not what he is. But I will always love him for that because he is the hardest motherfucker. Shane is not a wrestler. He is a fighter. Quote me on it.
Amen to that, sir.
But, no, I love that match. And I think the best thing about it was that Vince McMahon, being the smart bastard he is, you take that hate and that heat for Shane and you play into it. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's doing with Baron Corbin, and that's why I'm not pissed at Baron Corbin getting the King of the Ring spot. Because, you know, he's playing into the fact that everybody fucking hates him.
Right. And that, like I said, he's over with me a little bit. I just didn't want him to have the King of the Ring title, but I don't really see Chad Gable doing anything else than what he's doing. So I wouldn't necessarily think Chad Gable would have made a better, you know, King of the Ring. You know, so if those were my two choices, yeah, give me Baron Corbin. I'm down for that.
For me, they should have given that to Chad and launched him into a real bigger position. Because to me, Chad Gable has the chops to be the next big underdog.
Yep. Next little guy that does his thing. So, trying to think. You had that match. So Shane McMahon, yeah, we'll see if he stays fired. We'll see how that one works out. Then the
lumberjack match was good too. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Rowan and Eric Rowan and Roman Reigns lumberjack match, which made for some good TV. Like, they beat the snot out of each other for a while, and Daniel Bryan got up and got involved when Luke Harper got involved, and you know, and they all beat the snot out of each other.
I'm always glad to see that, of course.
Always
down for a good old slobber knocker.
And so, and then Reigns and Bryan ended up getting the win. I still think they're leaning towards a tag team championship run for those two.
I think so too.
Like the way that they're playing
now.
everything.
I agree. I think it's down the road, especially with how they operate with Daniel Bryan and how he works with people. They always give him what they would seem to be the least likely tag partner.
Oh yeah.
But I believe it's time we address the elephant in the room.
Look, man, I don't mind the fact that Kofi's run came to an end. But really, like that?
It had to be like that.
Like, okay, so here's the deal about it. I'm sitting there watching SmackDown, right? And I'm noticing, wow. All of a sudden I look up, I'm like, it's 7:30. Huh.
No.
We haven't even gotten to the main event yet. Huh, that's interesting. All right, I'll keep watching. Maybe we're going to get to the main event here in the next, maybe it'll be like the next match or something. Maybe we just got one more segment. All of a sudden I look up again. It's 7:45. We on commercial break. Okay, we should be well into the main event by now.
All of a sudden, sinking feeling.
Exactly.
That sinking feeling that Vince McMahon's going to pull a sneaky on you.
And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Nah, man. I'm like, I think I know what's going to happen. I was like, Kofi going to win by DQ. Like, some stupid shit going to happen, and Kofi going to win by DQ. Because it's the only way you keep Lesnar looking strong and you know, and Kofi keep the belt. You know, and I think they want Kofi to keep the belt.
Even worse.
Oh, man.
You didn't shoot bad enough.
Man, like, Kofi jumped, and as soon as Lesnar caught him, I was like, well, here we fucking go. Boom. 1, 2, 3, done. What the fuck? We finally get Kofi with the WWE title. Did he win it at Mania? Yeah, he won it at Mania. So we finally get Kofi Mania, and it ends like that. Like, it didn't even end with a whimper. It ended with a... Just what? How y'all gonna do Kofi like that?
It didn't go out with a bang, not with a whimper.
It didn't even go out with a
very
fight.
Soft cry.
Yeah, exactly. Kofi didn't even seem to put up a fight. And I get it.
That hurt to watch.
You want to get Lesnar over as strong. I get it. You got to sell Lesnar as strong. I understand and I agree. But wow, like that, you just basically made all of Kofi's entire championship reign basically mean nothing.
Like, I'll admit, I was not the guy who was screaming for Kofi Mania and wearing all the New Day merch and jumping out of his seat when he beat Daniel Bryan. It was a good feel-good moment, but it wasn't something that I was through the absolute roof for.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have all this build-up, and it's all for Lesnar again.
Yeah.
And you did all this unnecessary shit just so you could ruin your own plan. Like, I think back to, how long ago? I wouldn't even say it was a full 2 months ago, where they sent Kofi to Ghana, West Africa. Yeah. And they showed all those clips of little kids screaming and howling like there was nothing they've ever seen before. And they had the president, or whatever they would call it, of Ghana, West Africa, shaking his hand and personally telling him, this means a lot to all of us. And then you do this, and it's like, Jesus, now you made yourself look bad. You shot yourself in the fucking foot.
Yep, pretty much.
And it isn't even the idea that he lost it, except the fact that Lesnar ate him alive.
Yeah, like Lesnar ate him for lunch, like it was nothing.
Exactly. And I still stand by the idea that if Daniel Bryan hadn't had to relinquish the WWE Championship when he did a few years back, he would have been the one getting his ass thrown around like John Cena was at the 2015 SummerSlam. That would have been him. And it just goes to prove, you can put whatever stock into anything you want, but if it's main event, there's a 90% chance whatever you're putting that stock in is going to be fed to fucking Lesnar.
And that's sad. That is just pure pathetic and sad, because Lesnar, don't get me wrong, I understand Lesnar is costing WWE a lot of money, But at the end of the day, ultimately, that's because they were stupid enough to pay him a lot of money. And at the end of the day, like, I look at it and I'm just like, wow, man. Like, what more can these cats do? You know, I feel like they've earned their spots, and Lesnar just keeps coming in, and Lesnar takes it. Because Lesnar does put butts in the seat, and Lesnar makes money, but fuck, man.
Is it really that worth it?
Exactly.
Because not only that, I don't think they understand that when they do that to Lesnar, yeah, they're pumping up Lesnar. Lesnar is built as this monster in the wrestling business now. But I can guarantee you, Cena, maybe not Cena, but Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, and now Kofi Kingston, where has their credibility gone after their feud with Lesnar?
Yep. Lost
Fucking
a lot of momentum.
Plummeted. All their credibility as a character in writing terms is null and fucking void now.
Yep. 100%.
But following that, I got an even bigger disappointment.
What's that?
And Cain Velasquez showed up. And it's not that I hate Cain Velasquez. I will prelude it with that. Cain Velasquez, as someone who is into MMA, avidly watches UFC, Bellator, all that good shit, someone who's avidly into that, I say this as someone who watches hours upon hours of that shit, it's not that I hate Cain Velasquez. It's that everyone who has any MMA experience, when they come into WWE, they are not given a gimmick. Their gimmick is, I was in MMA.
Right.
And that is the best they'll get. Ronda Rousey's character is that I'm Ronda Rousey, and that's what made me get tired of her.
Yep.
That's why people don't like Brock, because his gimmick is I'm Brock, I'm from MMA, I punch things.
Right. Well,
they've hit their stride with Shayna Baszler because, you know, she actually has somewhat of a gimmick. She has her little Queen of Hearts thing going on, which I think is fucking badass. I mean, not Brock entirely, because, you know, Brock has that wrestling pedigree that he's always had from.
Well, I was gonna say when
NCAA
Brock first came,
and from his.
When Brock first came to WWE, he came to WWE straight out of NCAA. Like, the whole MMA thing has become since he left WWE for MMA and went and did what he did there and won the championship, you know what I'm saying, in like 3-4 fights, you know, and then came back to WWE. So now the MMA thing is something that they do it, because he's like I say, he's like one of the only dudes in history to hold the WWE championship and the UFC heavyweight championship, you know, and so because of that, they put a lot of emphasis on Lesnar's. Now, the other people that you mentioned, I agree completely. Like Shayna Baszler, they've limited her character by making so much about her MMA background. You know, there's a lot of characters that they have there's a lot of female and male wrestlers that have MMA backgrounds that they don't really talk about as much, you know, because they weren't as big a stage. But I think it helps them, the fact that they don't talk about it as much. Because you're expected to be a certain, like they have to fall into a certain category or style of fighter because of the fact that they're an MMA fighter. Like Ronda Rousey couldn't have been a high flyer. You know, she couldn't have come in doing backflips and moonsaults and all the rest of that shit, because all they ever talk about is her MMA career, and it wouldn't make sense with what we saw in her MMA career.
I agree. You know, I think the way that they limit people like that is just, it's saddening, because especially when you look at people like Shayna Baszler, I feel like she can do a lot better.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler has shown that, like, as a compelling heel with character work, she can knock it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
I've lost my love for Shayna Baszler because she has Jinder Mahal syndrome, you know. Everything about her right now is based completely off of those two things that she calls women that follow her.
Yeah.
Look, man, I like to think of myself as somebody who doesn't, you know, who isn't too mean about people's looks, but God damn it, you cannot tell me those things are female. That is a man.
It's like, I don't care if you're a man dressed as a woman, just don't try to sell me on the fact that you're a man. Anyway, or that you're a woman, sorry. But no, yeah, I feel what you're saying. But
if they take Cain Velasquez in a direction that isn't, hey, you know, I was the guy who beat Brock, MMA noises, I'm going to be really happy and I'll be really interested. But if that's the direction they're going to take it, then it's a waste of my time. Because it's something that I've seen before and I don't want to see again.
Well, let me say it like this. I think it's going to end up being a waste of your time because I think they're going to playoff with it. I think that's all you're going to hear for like the first few weeks that they go back and forth. Like once they get in there and they actually start having like an actual match, if they actually go that route. Now, where I'm going to be highly disappointed is if WWE goes the TNA route. And unfortunately, TNA, it was good for them to do it because you had Joe and Angle in the cage. But I have this weird feeling that you're going to get an MMA-style ring that Lesnar and Cain Velasquez are going to fight in.
You've just opened Pandora's box. What have you fucking done?
Well, think about it like this. I'm going to recall one match
I'm
for
throwing
you.
rocks at your house.
I'm going to recall one match.
If you've jinxed this, I'm going to be angry.
No, I'm going to recall one match for you, and it's going to prove to you exactly my point and exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying, and you're going to tell me I'm right. Do you remember a little match called a Punjabi prison match?
Oh, no, you're right. No,
see,
done?
see, so I have this weird feeling that that's kind of where we're headed, and it's most likely going to happen at Crown Jewel. I think we're building up on a short feud.
Fuck me. You're right. This is all for Crown Jewel. It's all for that Saudi Arabian blood money. God damn it.
But needless to say, yes, it should be good. I hope that Cain Velasquez. I hope that one or two things. I hope that either this is a long-term thing with him, because I've heard that Cain Velasquez has full intentions on becoming a professional wrestler. Like after his stint,
if you remember, like in the first 2 episodes of the show,
yeah,
I mentioned that Cain Velasquez had a match in AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a little stint in TNA. So, I don't believe that he's just here for the money. I believe he genuinely has good intentions, but I don't think Vince does.
Right. I think Vince just wants to play off of his name I think Vince is to part of it is that he's more of a signing of fuck you, Dana White. Not only did I keep Brock Lesnar from you, but I also took somebody else who retired from you, and I'm going to make him a star all over again, too.
No, yeah, I would not put it past him. Vince McMahon is predatory as shit like that.
Yep.
Never forget, Vince McMahon doesn't hire people to use them. He hires people so other people can't use them. That's why we have all those PWG guys currently unused. That's why we have Damian Priest. That's why we have Trevor Lee now.
Yeah.
Fucking Cameron, whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love them all, and it's good to see them. But I know damn well, if I'm lucky, I'll see 2 of them being used.
Yeah, and that's the downside to it. See, I believe that part of it is that. Part of it is the keep away from places like AEW, ROH, New Japan. And I think part of it is like with John Morrison. I think WWE genuinely wanted to sign him. I think WWE wanted to sign him a while back, and he just didn't want to come back. Like he just wasn't feeling it.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think here's the thing, though. I think because WWE has this obsession with bringing people back and then strapping that rocket to them and pushing them to the fucking moon. I think that's what they're doing again, but I think it's also because John Morrison now undeniably has that it factor.
Right. He's proven to be one of the hottest commodities in all of pro wrestling, let alone, WWE or etc.
If for those of you listening, if you have not, I would recommend watching Lucha Underground just to see him work as Johnny Mundo.
Yeah. He's Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny Wrestling,
Nitro, whatever
Johnny
the hell
Nitro,
you want that can work. But Hell in a Cell time, shall we?
Oh, well, actually, one last factoid from Friday Night SmackDown that you brought up pre-show was Taker and Austin were both advertised for the show. And I know that I've seen an article already. I know that Taker was told he wasn't going to be needed or used like right before the show started. Like he showed up and he was told that he wasn't going to be used or needed. Wow. They just forced a fumble out of Odell Beckham on a punt return. Oh, man. Anyway, But yeah, so I don't know if Austin was told the same thing, but I've seen an article that said the Undertaker was.
Damn. No, yeah. I had heard for sure though that because they were advertising, they did not show up. A lot of people were real heated about that.
Wow.
Maybe not as heated as last night's show in our hometown, but I heard a lot of people were not having that. There were AEW chants after the show.
Wow. And like I said,
I'd be mad too. Like if I had Steve Austin advertised for a show and I paid for that and I didn't see Steve Austin, I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah. But I said, and here's my devil's advocate thought process on it. They still got a pretty damn good show. Like
no doubt.
at a SmackDown, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You didn't get to see the Undertaker come out. You didn't get to see Austin come out and make a speech, but you got a damn good show.
Yeah, as critical as I am of their current product, there are still a lot of things worth watching.
Yep.
There's just 2 or 3 consistencies that they need to fix that aren't working.
Exactly.
But aside from that, no, I'd say SmackDown was that was a B+ show.
Easy.
If not for the ending, that would have been an A+ show.
Yep. That weak ass championship match. All right. So we got Tyson Fury facing off with Braun Strowman, looking that nigga eye to eye. Oh, Fury pushes him. Sorry, I know I'm narrating. Oh, Strowman. Oh, they throwing hands. They throwing hands, bro. You gonna have to wait till the 8 o'clock segment. Oh, they throwing hands. Get him. 2 of the big monsters, Tyson Fury. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. Braun Strowman antagonizing Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury jumping the guardrail. And from what I've heard, Tyson Fury, he done broke through the people. Oh, they going at it. I'll say Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman had a little altercation at SmackDown. So
I'm interested. Nothing too much happened, so I can't say what's my full opinion on it. But I'm interested.
Yeah. Well, wait until you see what happens tonight. It's gonna have you quite interested a little bit more. All right, so let's get to Hell in a Cell.
Interest peaked.
Hell in a Cell.
I would confidently say that.
Sorry, Tyson Fury out here knocking niggas out.
Left and right.
Like one punch. No, seriously. Like all the guards that was holding people's back.
The ones that they feed to people.
Yeah. Tyson Fury just started knocking niggas out one hand at a time. Pow, 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 pow. So Strowman started knocking niggas out. Pow, pow. Now they back going out, and now they got actual wrestlers out there holding these niggas apart. Oh man, this is getting good. Love it live here on the network on the show. Yeah, baby.
Fucking no way Jose is out there, isn't he?
Yes, he is. But he doesn't have the green hair anymore.
That's all they keep him around for anymore. Damn it.
That and to randomly have a segment, walking around somewhere where he distracts somebody. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. Oh man.
I remember when that man was the hottest shit in NXT. My heart.
Oh man, yeah, it kills me. They need to bring him back like Finn Balor. All right, so Hell in a Cell.
I wish.
So
we opened Hell in a Cell with Becky versus Sasha.
Yes, we did. But let me make a quick statement before we start the review of Hell in a Cell. Folks, last week we thought there was only 3 matches to Hell in a Cell. Because up until the day of Hell in a Cell, it didn't show but 3 matches for this thing.
They didn't have anything announced.
Right, they didn't have anything announced.
I had to go and look up matches that were like maybe happening there. And even then, I only got 2 of the few matches that we saw.
So needless to say, on top of the 3 that we covered last week, you had Kabuki Warriors facing off against Bliss and Cross for the women's tag team title. Orton taking on Ali in a singles match. Viking Raiders and Braun Strowman, but they announced it as a mystery partner. But Viking Raiders and Braun Strowman take on the OC. And then Chad Cable taking on King Corbin in a singles match, and Charlotte Flair versus Bayley for the women's championship were all added after we recorded last week's match or last week's show on what was it, Monday?
Mm.
So
yeah,
anyway.
on Monday. I mean on Friday, I think. But
So back
okay,
to what you were
so
saying. We opened with Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks.
we opened with Becky Lynch versus Sasha. And for me, I was not very hyped for this because I have this thing where it's like, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit tired of seeing Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Sasha, the only women in the main event title scene in the women's picture.
Yeah.
I like them all, but I'm a little bit tired of it, especially when you look at the stacked female roster that they currently have. I was a little bit tired of it. I immediately was like, I'm not too excited for this match, and I'm not going to pay too much attention.
Right.
I was immediately forced to eat my fucking words. I can confidently say that this was my match of the night.
Yeah.
I think Becky and Sasha played into everything perfectly. I always say that female wrestling isn't bad, it's just a very different style. And I think they took that style and fucking hit it out of the park. They played into it perfectly, and I saw a lot of spots that I've never seen. The spot where she had Sasha on the chair, suspended by the fucking kendo sticks, is one of the rawest things I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, and then she ran up and drop kicked her? Oh!
Yeah, no, that was one of the badass things I've ever seen, especially coming out of Becky Lynch. And the finish to it was fucking amazing. As a whole, I can say that match was the best of the night.
Uh-oh, Braun Strowman is screaming at the screen. I'm going to have to watch the 8 o'clock
That's
version.
usual.
telling Tyson Fury he can come get these hands.
I love it.
Anyway,
all right,
so we sorry, man, but yeah, so like the match itself was pretty good. Okay, just in general, the match itself between Lynch and Sasha Banks was just good. Like, they both put on a hell of a match. They both beat the hell out of each other. They found inventive ways of beating the hell out of each other. I think they used just about every one of the 30,000 chairs they tossed around the ring. Sasha Banks opened the match fucking by rolling Becky Lynch outside of the ring and beating her ass for a good 20 minutes.
The spot where she had her arm in the doorway was hard to watch.
Brutal.
The exploder suplex onto the fucking pile of chairs looked as bad as the Seth Rollins getting F5'd onto the fucking stretcher and then bouncing off it.
Yep.
I was thoroughly impressed. After feeling like I've seen the same stuff and it was getting a bit stale, I'm glad that they really reinvented it the way they did.
So, next up after that was what? I believe it was Kabuki Warriors, right?
Another real good match. I liked it.
Yeah, that was another good match. It's for me, it had a surprise ending, just because I didn't expect the Kabuki Warriors to walk away with that one. I truly didn't. I figured
as a massive Oscar mark, I didn't expect it either, but I loved it.
So, like, I was thoroughly impressed with that one. Like, I believe that the Kabuki Warriors deserved a tag team title shot, and I believe that they deserved to hold the tag team titles. I think that also, like, when you go to watch the 8 o'clock thing of Raw, the feud between Kabuki Warriors and Charlotte and Becky is pretty off the hinges.
We got to get to that finish, though.
Yeah. Let's see. You got, what was it? Orton.
No. The finish to the tag match.
Oh, what was the finish?
It was missed.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man. I just completely jumped forward
No,
there on you. My bad. Yeah. Asuka did something that I know I didn't see coming. I don't know about you, but I'm sitting there and she turns around and she puts out
fucking
that green
blasts her.
Just blast fucking who was it? Was it Nikki Cross in the face, because it looked like Cross was about to make her comeback, and she blasted her in the fucking face with the mist, and I marked out like a ooh yeah. Took me back to my Mr. Fuji days. Like, it was beautiful. I tell you, like couldn't get no better. Couldn't get no better than that.
No, yeah. Like, No, I screamed. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. My favorite promotion that has ever existed will forever be ECW. I've watched enough ECW to last a lifetime. That is one of my biggest wrestling obsessions, and I've always been one of the biggest Tajiri marks ever.
Yeah.
So seeing her pull out the green mist out of her ass was the fucking best. And, like, one of the small little things was that after the match, like, you know, she's wiping it away and they're grabbing the belts, and Kairi Sane being, like, as small and innocent as she is, like, slyly reaches over and tries to, like, brush something off of Asuka's face. And it's just a small little wholesome little moment. Shit like that I love. But, no, like, the entire finish was the shit. The shades of Muda and Tajiri.
Oh, I just love it, man. I love it, I tell you.
Asuka is just purely cementing herself as my favorite female wrestler.
Yep, 100%. Now, okay, so I believe after that was the Orton and Ali match. No, it was the Viking Raiders. And they had a mystery partner. They didn't announce who the partner was until that day. And I thought it was a great pairing. I thought that Strowman and the Viking Raiders are an amazing combination in the sense that they belong together. Like they're Big Beard Club, whatever you want to call it. But you give a monster like Strowman 2 wrecking balls on the side of him like Eric and Avar, and yeah.
You're walking around with a fucking wrecking ball with biceps at that point, man. 3 very big, very intimidating men. I'll admit, I was the biggest War Raiders mark ever. Like when they were War Machine and they were touring ROH in New Japan, I shit you not, I was the biggest War Machine mark on the face of this earth. And they were absolute badasses in NXT, but the very second they became the Viking Experience and they became Eric and Ivar, I lost all of my love for them.
Oh man, like you can't still have love for them.
I have lost like all of my everything I had for them, and it sucks because it's like I've just lost all of my interest. Man. I will always love Raymond Rowe, especially, but it's like they've killed it for me. They were such badasses, and they shot them down the first time they hit the main roster stage. I'd say as a whole, though, it was a good match. I got to see the OC in action, which I'm always for. You best believe I have all my Bullet Club shirts. And I will forever love Gallows, Anderson, and AJ Styles for it. And, you know, seeing AJ Styles get the fucking wind knocked out of him by Braun Strowman. But yeah, I'd say as a whole, it was a good match. I liked it. I don't see anything Braun Strowman related that I'm not in love with, because he's never not entertaining. He's found his niche.
Now, after a 10-minute promo by a man who just cannot seem to cut a good promo for the life of him, and Baron Corbin, to start the match, Chad Gable got the win over King Corbin in a singles match. I liked it. I hope that they continue to do more and continue to push Chad Gable, because I think the boy deserves it. He is a damn good wrestler and deserves to be pushed to the moon. So start him with a win over the King, and let's start racking him up some more wins. A big pay-per-view win at that.
Take it from there.
Yep.
I really don't want them to fuck up Gable specifically. Like, I don't know about you, but there is something about him that just, I love him. Like,
no, I do.
I'll support that fucker wherever he goes. Like, I didn't, especially when he was paired with Jason Jordan, I didn't think he was going to be the one that comes out with more of the support from me.
Yeah.
But Gable comes off as someone who is the full package as a wrestler.
Yep. He's still got to work on them promos, though. Like, his promos are good, but like he's still got to work on them promos. But overall, as far as in-ring and everything, yeah.
I think his promos do need a little bit work, but I think where he's at now in his career, I think he plays into that, you know? I think that's something that he runs with, and I think that's an even better thing to do. rather than pulling a Roman and just taking it at face value.
Yeah, true.
And, you can't look me in the eyes and tell me that Chad Gable's Chaos Theory isn't one of the coolest finishers in all of wrestling right now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm sorry.
100%.
The roll up into the German suplex.
Savage.
Mm.
Now,
when he hit it on Big E last year and Big E folded like a goddamn lawn chair, nothing will ever be the same.
Selling the shit out of it.
Yeah, buddy. Sorry, go on there.
Oh, but, all right, so in the matchup that it made sense why it was there, but it didn't make sense why it was there. Charlotte Flair took on Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship and pulled it off and is now a record 10-time women's champion.
10 goddamn times. Jesus, man.
That's what I said, brother. That's what I said.
I mean, like, they're not sneaky. It's clear they're doing it because, her last name is Flair.
Right.
You're not sneaky, but god damn, man. That still fucks with me because I don't know about you, but I remember watching Charlotte on NXT TV.
Yeah. I remember watching Charlotte, and my first exposure to Charlotte Flair was the matchup that she had with Natalya. I forget which pay-per-view it was at. But yeah, the matchup she had with Natalya, it was just a classic. But it was the one when Brett and Rick were at
ringside.
Right, ringside. So I'll say so that was my first exposure to Charlotte Flair, and I've been impressed with her ever since. All right, officially a final.
Go
ahead. No, I was just gonna say officially a final. The Niners have beaten the Browns 31-3. So.
Hell yes. God damn,
smacked them in the mouth.
Damn, what was I saying? Fuck me. Oh no. I think for me though, like as good as the match as it was I think that was the least notable match on the entire card.
What, Charlotte and Bayley? Yeah, as far as actual in-ring like work, it was the least memorable match. Like it was nowhere near what it could have been with the two competitors that were in the ring. I was happy with what they gave us, but yeah, it definitely wasn't like.
But I know they could do better. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Moving on to Orton versus Ali, right?
Yes, that was a good match, but it seemed like and probably was a filler match.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a match that was driving any type of particular storyline. It was just a filler match, a match that was just there because they needed a match to put into, the pay-per-view to kill some time.
I agree.
But
I think it was one of those times where they just grabbed a high flyer, stuck it with Orton, thought of the cool RKO spot, and that's it, done deal.
And that's pretty much what they gave us. They gave us a really cool match with a really cool RKO spot at the end of it, and that was about it. So,
yeah, pretty much. Ali, of course, had one of the coolest counters to an RKO that we've ever seen. With the handstand. You good?
Right. Yeah, no. Sorry, some notifications were coming up on my phone about the game. All right, so
your mic went out for a sec, but yeah, no, it was a cool counter with the handstand, and then of course, the moment I saw Ali go for the neck breaker that he does, it was instantly like, no, he's gonna get fucking caught, and he's gonna get spiked with the RKO right there.
And badoom. Sorry, it's my least favorite segment in wrestling, the Rusev segment.
Oh no.
Yeah,
no.
I'm just over it. Like I'm really.
I'm not.
It's barely started, and I'm already over it.
I'm already. That's what I call the blacks.com segment.
Yeah.
I'm not with it. I don't want it.
But anyway.
Fucking Vince. But
yeah, he's always got to give us one stinker.
What followed that?
Reigns and Bryan taking on Rowan and Harper in what was changed to a tornado tag match. So everybody was in the ring at the same time.
Right.
And they all just kind of beat.
I'm always down to see because pure chaos.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was. It's pure chaos that, for a time being, was dominated by Rowan and Harper, but at the end of the day was won by the heroes of the day, Mr. Harper, or Mr. Reigns and Mr. Bryan, who I think are on their way to tag team title glory later than sooner, but eventually.
It's always good to see Bryan hit that pseudo face turn when he's in the middle of a heel run.
Yep.
It's always nice to see that. But I like the match. I'm a massive fan of Luke Harper, so I've never watched a match about him that I've not loved.
Right on.
They ripped off the fucking barricade and hit Roman with it.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. Quite interesting. Oh man. But
I like
those...
the finish too. The litany of moves where
Maybe...
Bryan hit the running knee and then caught him with the spear and all that.
I'll say, I wonder though, like they're slow rolling Bryan, but it's just like he was over. Or no, with Rowan and Harper. If you were just going to put them back together anyway when they came back, why not just keep them as the Bludgeon Brothers? Why go through all the thing of developing Eric Rowan as an individual character and all that, just to put him back with Harper? Like it's still my biggest disappointment.
I agree. I think they, for not even a full 3 weeks, Rowan was really built up for something finally on his own. And then suddenly Harper shows up. I mean, I was fine with it because I love Harper, but it's still the idea that, like, you put all this stock in Eric Rowan for a minute and you dropped it.
Once again, another case of WWE dropping the ball when everything's hot. You know, when they're going in a good direction with something. But needless to say, happy for Reigns and Bryan. Glad that whole storyline can come to a close now. The next match was the match that left people in Sacramento, in our hometown of Sacramento, extremely pissed off. Me being one of them. I didn't get to go, but I did watch it on pay-per-view and on TV. And okay, so here's my deal. And I was telling this to Saint earlier. It's a Hell in a Cell match, right? So there's no DQ, right? You can only win by pinfall or submission, right? So how the fuck does a no DQ match end in DQ?
It was actually a draw.
Was it considered a draw?
By official number. Yeah, by official number in the wiki and all that. It says it ended in a no contest, ended in a draw.
How?
And nonetheless, I still fucking hate it. It messed me up because this is the one time they chose to make Seth Rollins pull the pedigree out of his arsenal, you know? This is the only time they used such badass spots as using a ladder to break a chair on someone's face and then using a fucking toolbox to hit it further even home. Like, that could have been used in something not as shitty as this.
Yeah. Big time.
And it messes, and it hurts me a lot because I've been a fan of Seth Rollins since day one. I'm talking since he was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor. So yeah. I've been when he had a super kick, the seated super kick called the Vada Kedavra. Like, I've been a Seth Rollins fan since day one. And it hurts because it's like they want me to fucking hate him now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're giving me such horrible writing that it's like you want me to hate your champion right now.
Like,
and it's bad when it bridged the point of like Steve Austin and Bret Hart double face heel turns because of how people very clearly and vocally weren't having what Seth was doing and were absolutely hot for the Fiend.
Yep. Because every time that Seth made a run, boo, 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 instead of that cheer building up. And I was just like, okay, that was kind of backwards. But here's the thing that got me, and this is the thing that will always get me right in the gut. How do you have a no DQ match end in no contest? I could see if both of them had knocked each other out, if you would give me that finish. Or both of them threw each other into the cage and both of them knocked each other out and they just didn't get back up and they were seriously, they were playing like they were seriously hurt, or whatever, and couldn't get up and so they called the match because of that, no contest. But to give me what you gave me, like basically the ref chose to ring the bell and I guess call no contest because he hit the Fiend in the head with a sledgehammer.
Exactly. It's. I understand the corner that they wrote themselves into in the way that they can't make Seth Rollins look 2 weeks before Survivor Series, and they just built up the Fiend so they can't make him look weak before Survivor Series either. But there's a lot better ways to write this.
Yeah.
This is one of
the
most horrible decisions I've ever seen, especially coming off of the year that we saw matches like Samoa Joe versus Reigns at Backlash,
Yeah. You want to know, it did develop 2 hilarious memes that I'll talk about real quick. The first one was one on this pro wrestling Facebook site where at the top it said, "We will give the WWE Universe what they want." And then at the bottom it said, "Be careful what you wish for." And it showed a poll from WWE Twitter that said, "What result would you like to see out of The Fiend versus Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell?" And the final results was the disqualification.
I hate it.
And so it said, be careful what you ask for because you just may get it. So that was one. And then, what was the other one? Seth Rollins, I think. Oh, I forgot what the other one was. Oh, well, that was one. Oh, the other one was,
God damn it,
it showed Cody Rhodes. And it said at least all of AEW's matches have clean finishes, and I was just like, well, damn. Yeah,
you ain't wrong.
Uh-huh.
You ain't wrong. People were not having that. I saw the clip. People were booing them out of the fucking stadium, chanting AEW.
Yep.
And I don't blame them because of a shitty finish. I cannot stress that enough.
And here's the issue I have with doing the chants and all that. Is that you think that you're doing something special, but here's the problem. Vince already has your money. You've already paid for it.
Exactly.
Like, so all the chanting, you think you're getting under Vince's skin, and Vince is going, but you've already paid me to be here. Like, okay, you didn't like the finish. I get it, boo it. But AEW, really? Like, I've already got your money. You've probably already spent $150 on concessions and merchandise. So, like, I've gotten even more of your money since you got here. Yeah, you're going to chant AEW makes you feel better.
I bash the product a lot, but, I still enjoy a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's going to sit here and tell you that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are the best wrestlers on the face of this planet and all that dumb shit. They're good, but I'm not that marky.
Yeah. No shit. But all right.
Except for the finish, I'd say that this was easily a really good fucking show.
Yeah.
Even with filler matches like Orton versus Ali, I feel like they pulled a lot of really, really new spots. Things worth watching.
So, speaking of that, we covered in the last episode AEW's debut, Dynamite, and NXT's debut. 2 hours on USA. So you said that AEW won week 1 of the ratings wars.
Yes, it did. AEW won in the rating wars for the first week.
I believe that will be a consistent trend for the next few weeks because AEW is the new thing. I think as far as in-ring work, my personal opinion, NXT was the better show. Like, no offense to AEW. Like, they had a great show and some fantastic matches. But to me, just bang for your buck, NXT was the better show. Now, I will tell you why I think that this correlates to exactly how it's supposed to be. AEW as Will Smith would say from Men in Black, AEW is the new hotness.
Yeah.
But NXT
I think you're right on that.
And NXT,
like no bashing AEW. That was a really good fucking show, especially for a premiere.
Yeah, and so.
But I think because it is so fresh and new, we're going to see a lot of people really testing the waters first.
Yeah, and they're going to see what AEW. They're going to give AEW a chance because if you think about it, like Impact Wrestling did well all the way up. I think where Impact Wrestling made their biggest mistake is hiring Hogan and Bischoff and letting them switch the show to Monday nights to go head to head with Raw.
I agree.
And then
I think they hit the point of WCW where it was, let's try to combat WWE to the point where they've already lost.
Yep. If they had just stayed on Thursday nights, they had their following. They had their following. If they had just stayed on Thursday nights and kept the 6-sided ring, I think Impact Wrestling would still be one of the top things right now. I think they would be working with people like ROH. They would kind of be the AEW right now if they had kept the 6-sided ring and stayed away from going head to head with Monday with Monday Night Raw.
I agree.
What wrestling people have, or what wrestling companies have to start to realize, as all these new wrestling companies are getting their own TV deals, is if you're going to even challenge WWE, you cannot go head to head with WWE. And I don't mean you can.
Your idea is exactly. If your idea is let's take down WWE, in my eyes, you've already lost.
Yep. If your thought process is let's carve out a niche of our own, now you got something. Now you're cooking with oil. Because I think that's where AEW will separate itself from a lot of these other places, like ROH, like New Japan. They're not looking to take down WWE completely. They're just looking to carve out their own niche. They're just looking to give you something else to be able to watch, which should be your goal, because you're not going to take down WWE.
Exactly. My idea is that losers focus on winners, winners focus on winning. That's why AEW is currently the shit.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're the best promotion on the face of this earth, but that's why they're going to pull the crowd away from Impact, from Ring of Honor, and from every other American promotion that isn't Vince McMahon's big house of sweaty men.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the key thing to it that I keep telling people that's where I think that they will completely be successful, is they're not trying to be WWE. And I think Cody gets that. Out of all the people, I think Cody gets that the most. Let's not try to be WWE. Let's be AEW. We don't need to worry about what WWE has going on. Like WWE, because they were going up against AEW in that first NXT head to head. What they had the champion, they had Adam Cole versus who was it? Who did he face for the belt? Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, you had Matt Riddle and you had Velveteen Dream losing the NXT North American Championship the week before. They're throwing all their championships at it because they know that AEW is going to get that initial push. They know that just because it's something different, AEW is going to get that push. But did AEW gave you one title match? They gave
I'm not
you their
saying
women's
they
title
went
match.
Out and they didn't get it. Exactly. I'm not saying they put on a bad show, but I'm saying NXT definitely pulled out every single stop.
Yeah, and you could see it. Not that it reeked of desperation or anything, but you could just see that the NXT was trying to be like, look, we've got guys that can go too. And so I think that at the end of the day, ultimately, AEW is going to find its niche. Like I said, once again, you didn't see AEW immediately looking to crown their tag team champions. They're going to have a tournament over the next few weeks. So that keeps you interested and keeps you coming back. Cody understands. Play the long game. Not everything has to happen right now. Exactly. Build a story. And so because of that, I think AEW will be successful. And they will continue to be successful. But I also think that as people begin to realize exactly what NXT is, I think NXT had a much smaller audience on the network than it will starting out on USA.
I agree.
But I think as NXT goes on, you're going to have people, because I don't believe that NXT. Yeah, NXT starts at 5 and 5 o'clock Eastern. Or 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock on our coast. And we'll go head-to-head with AEW. They'll both be on 5 to 7. I know I personally will probably watch one at 5, watch the other at 7.
Get a taste of both.
Or 5 or 8. You know what I'm saying? Watch the other at 8. Just like my homeboy used to say. Because back in the day, during the Attitude Era, you weren't really alive during this time, but back in that day, WCW, the Monday Night Nitro, actually aired back to back. Like WCW had a 6-hour time block on Monday nights on TNT on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it would air from 8. Oh no, sorry. A 4-hour time block. It would air from 8 to 10, right alongside Raw, and then it would air from 10 to 12, right after Raw. So my homeboy Cole, that did the show, that did the Raw Impact Unleashed with me, he used to say, I'd watch Raw. Then when Raw went off the air, I'd watch the replay of WCW Nitro. And that was how simple
the true winners here are the wrestling community, because that's how much wrestling you get.
Exactly. And like you announced last week, as of this week, like we're getting to a point where we're going to have wrestling on every single day of the week. Damn near. You know what I'm saying?
The true winners here are the fans. Exactly.
So, with that being said, may AEW continue in their success, because their success, in my opinion, pushes WWE to do better and to get better, and that only benefits, as we just said right now, all of us.
Exactly.
So let's move on.
Competition is only going to breed the best product.
Yep. Because we're breaching almost the 2-hour mark here. The draft starts on Friday night. We should see some moves shaken out. I do believe that after this, we will begin to see Raw and SmackDown take on lives of their own, because they're billing the brand or the draft as USA versus Fox. That the two networks are looking to build the strongest roster possible for their shows. So I'm assuming that after this is when it'll become brand wars. We may see the bragging rights pay-per-view make a comeback, and it will legitly be Raw versus SmackDown.
But man, if this means I get one more SmackDown versus Raw video game,
that would be awesome. Hell yeah.
Feeling it.
Hell yeah.
Before we close, shall I get in my wrestler?
Yes. Go for it.
For those of you who know, who paid attention to what I've brought in before, the likes of Darby Allin, the man who used to be known as Trevor Lee, it's not easy to see that I'm a big fan of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that that's where you're going to see some of the best wrestling on the face of the earth currently. And I needed to bring in my PWG faithful in the form of Jeff Cobb.
Nice.
If you haven't
Mr.
seen
Cobb.
anything by Jeff Cobb, then what the fuck are you doing? He's been essentially everywhere, from Ring of Honor to PWG to Lucha Underground. Gone.
I don't remember if he's done an interview, but I know he's a friend. He was a friend of the show for Raw Impact Unleashed. Your boy Cole knew him personally. My daughter actually has one of his shirts.
Awesome.
So, yes, Jeff Cobb, baby boy.
But Jeff Cobb is the shit. He does his version of the F5 that I like to call the F10.
Nice.
Because he throws them in the air and they do a double fucking spin, and it's utterly horrifying.
Hell yeah.
You can, like, when he did it to Darby Allin, it looked like he was trying to kill the poor guy. He throws people around like it's nothing. He's an Olympic-level powerlifter.
Nice.
He's an utter fucking machine. There's a video of him carrying around Keith Lee like he's utterly nothing.
Wow.
Jeff Cobb is, I would consider to be one of, if not the strongest man in the current wrestling business, set along people like Braun Strowman.
Nice. There it is,
So this
Mr.
week,
Cobb.
Jeff Cobb gets my alpha seal of approval. If you haven't seen anything by him, what rock have you been living under? But go look at him. He's a crazy fucking strong madman.
I think we're going to add
Oozes charisma
to that Wrestler of the Week promotion by on the Double KK Double Network fan page. We're going to start sharing videos, YouTube videos of the wrestlers of the week that Alpha talks about. So check us out over there, where you can find the show, the events list that shows the weeks when the show's going to be on, and also the most recent episodes. And then also, we'll start sharing, probably in the event, we'll start sharing some whatchamacallits from your wrestlers of the week. We'll start with Jeff Cobb, probably. Yeah, that'll work.
Glad be. I'll get some videos. I'll compile some stuff.
All right. So, other than that, one last quick hot topic before we go. CM Punk, I was reading an article earlier today that CM Punk has said that yes, he is in talks with WWE at this point. Nothing has been finalized. The ink has not been put to paper, but he's looking to do some work with WWE, but wrestling is off the table. So we will not see an in-ring return from CM Punk for right now. Who knows what the future holds? But right at this moment,
not very surprised.
Yeah, at this moment, it's looking like backstage commentary for their Fox Sports show, for WWE Backstage show that they're going to have on Fox Sports as a part of their deal with Fox.
I'll take it.
So he will be working with WWE again, though. All right, so that's it. Other than that, Mr. Alpha, you got any last words for the folks?
You know how it goes. My people. Always.
The people's champ over here. We'll holla at y'all next week. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Like I said, the rest of this week we've got Kings and Queens of Porn. We've got Lovely Radio. We've got me coming back with Double K's Classroom, or not Double K's Classroom, K-Double's 5th period music class. It's Jazz Month, so we're going to be doing some Miles Davis this week on KW on KD5P. So listen in for that. Friday night at 8, and then Saturday we got Mr. Deacon. Sunday we got Lip Gloss and Mike's Brick House, Now versus Then. And we should be back on Sunday, pre-recorded around 5 o'clock with the Cheap Pop Podcast as well. So thank you guys for listening in tonight to our Hell in a Cell review. And we'll talk to you later.
Hell yeah.
Peace.